curious people. Welcome to Curious People Wanted, a special program with the Barnum Museum. My name is Adrienne Saint-Pierre, and I'm the curator here at the Barnum Museum. And it's my special delight and privilege to be able to share stories from the objects in our collection. Today, I'm going to show you a couple of rings in our collection. Okay, and I'm going to set them here on the box. There's one big ring, and here's one very tiny ring. I probably don't have to tell you who the tiny ring belonged to. That belonged to Charles Stratton, better known to the world as General Tom Thumb. In contrast, we've got this ginormous gold ring that belonged to P.T. Barnum. So does this mean that P.T. Barnum was a gymongous man? You might think so if you look at this ring. I'm going to set it down on top of a, let's see, this is a gold Sacagawea dollar coin, and the interior is even still a little bit bigger than that coin, believe it or not. And Tom Thumb's ring, I'm setting it on top of a dime, and it's considerably smaller than even a dime. So we've got quite a contrast in sizes here. So you can see this is a pretty fancy ring. And there's a picture on the front, and that is the Barnum home in Bridgeport. It was the first home, called Iranistan, was built between 1847 and 1848, and it was a magnificent structure. Nothing else like it in this country. It was basically copied after the Royal Pavilion in Brighton, England. Well, of course, Barnum was very, very proud of that, so that went on his ring. He also had adopted a crest. That's a great story, too. It was actually a Russian prince's crest, and Barnum happened to acquire things that had belonged to that man, so he just adopted his crest as well. And then on the other side, we have Barnum's initials, PTB. So for sure, this belonged to P.T. Barnum. It's also mentioned in his will because something like this he passed down to his, actually to his grandson. He and his wife Charity only had daughters. Okay, so I told you that Iranistan was built around 1847-48. Now, think to your American history. What happened in 1849? Remember the gold rush, the 49ers, right? I'm pretty sure that Barnum wanted a big chunk of gold from out west, and he used it to have this amazing ring made. In fact, in that will, he mentions his California gold ring. So I think that's a pretty strong clue that this was made from one of those gold nuggets. Okay, let's explain the size, right? Like, how big was he? Barnum was really only, I think, 6'1". He was not that tall a man. But he wore this ring in a way that we're not accustomed to seeing. Barnum had spent a lot of time in Europe, and he probably saw the way men who had wealth wore rings over their gloves. Now, I brought this photograph out to show you a picture of Barnum when he was an older man. It was taken in the 1880s. And you can see he's wearing a winter coat. He's got his top hat on. And one hand is not gloved, but the other is. And you can see that's a pretty thick leather glove. Very elegant, but thick nonetheless. So you have to imagine that a ring like this would have been worn over his glove. And in polite society back then, ladies and gentlemen tended to wear gloves more. So that's our explanation for why this ring is so big. This is a treasure, of course, and I'm delighted to share it with you today. And I look forward to introducing you to many other great artifacts in our collection. So I hope you will click on subscribe, and then if you want to get notifications about next episodes, click on the bell. Thanks so much. I look forward to seeing you again. Take care.